quite okay. The number now, just recently, number of cases has been increasing because they stopped lockdown two weeks ago. The total case is 3,000. There are only 5 or 6 deaths. Nothing else really.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Oh, yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
Eat meat and then drink vodka and everything is fine, they said.
That's the cures, right?
Okay, guys, we are on Facebook now.
All right, cool.
And we have only a few seconds to go.
Good.
Good. Now we have 7 people here. Okay, Mike.
Thank you. Go.
Chap, are you going to do the countdown?
Yes.
You do it, Victor.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Start? Okay. Good evening, Asia. I'm Mike Liu in Manila with Victor Yu in Taipei. Welcome to the second edition of the ABF Online Talk. Our speaker tonight is one of the inspiration for this season's theme, Beyond Birding. Hopefully her story will inspire more people out there. So without further ado, let us say good morning to the other side of the world. Buenos dias, Ecuador. Buenos dias, Ana Lu. ¿Cómo estás?
There you go. Buenos dias. How you doing?
How are you? Good. Everyone's good.
Everything okay here? You guys okay?
What time is it over there?
It's 8 a.m. Very early.
Thank you for waking up to join us.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure. My pleasure. As a bird, I'm up since very early.
Okay. So are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, here's Ana Lucia Goetschel in episode 2 of Beyond Birding, El Septimo Paraiso, from family estate to ecotourism destination. Ana Lu.
Hello, you all. Thank you for this opportunity. I would love to share this 20 years experience with all of you. Okay, so let me just get my presentation up. There you go. There. Okay. So a little bit about El Septimo. El Septimo was part of the family home, part of the family estate. I got 1/3 of it. And it was, you guys, let me get there. Like this. This is how I got it 22 years ago. It was, as I said, part of the family estate. So in the cloud forest, this was full of cows and pastures, and there was a very silly law in Ecuador years ago that said that if you were a landlord and if you did not work your land, the government will take it away from you. So most people that had land started chopping the trees off and putting cows in, so the land would look worked, and that's what my parents did. After a while, I came back from my studies in London, and I got my dream, because I always wanted to have a lodge since I was a little girl. So I came back, started construction. As you can see, it was flat. The only trees that were left were the ones on the side of the hills, and not even the bigger trees, just the little ones that couldn't be sold into wood. This was a state of over 1,000 hectares, which is a couple of square miles or something. It was huge. And at that time, there was not a big road to get there. But once development started to arrive, they made a paved road to the Mindo Valley. And now we're just an hour away from Quito, which was good and bad. It was good for tourism, bad because most of the landowners started to sell lots of land because of the local tourism that was coming. I am 4 kilometers away from the main town, which was great because I don't have any neighbors. My closest neighbor is 2 kilometers away. And that made it a destination. So from the beginning, I wanted to be unique. I wanted a lodge in a way that was very inviting, very nicely girly decorated, beautiful, but in the other way, it had to go with the environment. So what we did, let me see if this changes that. So what we did, it was important to have a construction that was aired enough because we had to deal with 95% humidity of the cloud forest. As you can see, being of German origin, I thought automatically of the Black Mountains. The way they construct the houses is with very high roofs, and it allows the ventilation to go in. It looks well with the environment because it's not a piece of cement like an old colonial hacienda that's there. So the construction started. It had a lot of airing underneath the lodge, which in the future, lots of animals loved. So we had to put lights to keep it controlled because we didn't want to give them an extra home and bother the guests. So my idea was to sacrifice the 10% of the reserve in order to bring in tourists and allow us to maintain the rest of the reserve. As you can see within the lodge, this is one of the main areas at your right. All the wood that was used here was from a farm that was a couple of hours away of a gentleman that had 6 children and needed the land to maintain their kids. I thought that was good because he had to do it. So I bought all of the wood from him and used it at the lodge because it was important to me to know where every product came in order to maintain my idea of upcycling and recycling. After that, here, this is where the fun part started. When the lodge was built, the design entered in. So being from an old family, I inherited lots of furniture from my grandparents and my parents. And living in London, I brought lots of furniture from there. So what we did in the first image, that is an old replica Tudor bed, which, yes, it's in the middle of the cloud forest, which it impresses guests because when they open the door, they don't expect to see this in the middle of a forest, especially of a cloud forest in Ecuador. So they walk in and they see Persian carpets and nice furniture. Now, you have to understand that most of the furniture is made from pallets, from containers. So we get these, we work them up, and we make tables and furniture and chairs. Other chairs are either inherited or given to me by friends that they don't want them anymore. We fix them, we upholster them in beautiful textiles and put them into the rooms. Then on the second image, you see that the contrast between the tapestries and whatever decorations we put there, it is important because I wanted to give my guests a feeling of peace, of relaxation. So it was important to give it some color, but to maintain this essence that comes in. We are very big in reusing. So the bottled water comes from the water of the stream that it literally is born in front of the lodge from the mountain. So we filter this water, we put it into recyclable bottles for our guests to use. Then on the third image, which is my favorite, the bed of this room is made from the main doors, from the main gate doors of the hotel that started to rot because of the weather. So we recycled them into a beautiful king-size bed. Everything in this room is amazing. It is covered with bamboo inside, and the outside is made from pallets. So not only the idea of upcycling is there, we made it into a beautiful room, recycling everything. On the bottom right, you see the furniture. This is an old piece from one of my grandparents, I think, that we just had it upholstered in it there. And the funny thing is that things seem to fit. They all find a place. Somehow, everything we get or inherit or find in someone's warehouse. We fix it up and it finds its place. Of the social areas, the pink room, which is in the 3rd floor, that has a beautiful balcony for the birders to sit out and see the birds. Because yes, we do have the birds. We have 392 species of birds, according to eBird, last I checked. So birding at El Septimo is already amazing. We get, well, we used to get, we're hoping to get back after the pandemic, all of our birders that come and not only enjoy the lodge and the idea of upcycling, but they enjoy the birds and the fauna and everything the reserve has to offer. So in this pink room, there are old furniture and beautiful things and paintings. It's a very relaxing room that people use to do their birding lists. After that, we go to the other living room that has a beautiful chimney that was handmade with one of the artisans, one of the local artisans. And of course, we have a cellar where you can choose wonderful either Ecuadorian or Chilean, Argentinian wines in front of the chimney after a long and wet day, because it usually rains at the cloud forest. So this is how we do things. The pool area, this is a special type of pool. We have 2 pools at the lodge and a jacuzzi, a big jacuzzi for 16 people. But this one is one of my favorites, mainly because all of the wood at the side of this pool is from containers. The bamboo is local. The furniture is made from pallets. And the pool has a system called natural pools, where you only need a pump. And what it does, all of the excess water goes back to the recycling tanks. And the water is just maintained naturally with less chemicals, less things that can pollute my forest, which is one of my proudest inventions. Then sometimes we get trees that fall because, you know, the wind, the excess water, and we try to reuse them at the lodge making furniture. Sometimes you can see the wood, sometimes we just paint it and make it look pretty. Lately, in January last year, I found a company, a tiny little company in the south of Quito that recycles plastic. So we went to this company and we discovered that from the chips and the Dorito bags, they make this sort of powder. And from this powder, they make boards. They actually made plastic boards, huge boards that measure 2 meters by 120 or something like that. So I had the idea of making 4 rooms made out of this, like little cabins. So we mixed it with giant bamboo. We painted some of them, and everything in this room is recycled. So the beams are giant bamboo. The furniture is made from pallets, as you know, painted. The walls are actually made from Dorito bags with windows. It just looks amazing. So we did these rooms. The roof was made from recycled Tetra Pak from the milks. And it actually worked. They are beautiful and very, very, very ventilated. They have little balconies in the front. And unbelievably, millennials love them because they have a very low footprint. So I was very pleased with that, because I'm always looking into new ways of constructing and making things, trying to reuse everything. They have told me that the hotel is eclectic, mainly eclectic because it has a little bit of everything and it seems to work. So the lodge is in the cloud forest, right in the middle of it. And from the photos you saw, this is how it looks now. This is my forest, 255 hectares of beautiful, matured or maturing cloud forest. We have local and endemic plants. We have a very small garden, if you can call it as such, that has some flowers, because there's not a lot of flowers in the cloud forest, but it just looks lush and beautiful. And the lodge is right in the middle of it. And as you can see here, it has tall roofs to allow the ventilation to maintain the humidity, to control the humidity. We also use dehumidifiers in some rooms. And sometimes because the Pichincha volcano, because as you know, we are in the Andes towards the beach, the wind of the mountain comes down and it could get pretty cold at night, sort of 10 degrees. So we have heaters in some rooms that need it. Not very many people want them because they come from colder areas, so they are used to the weather. We are definitely not used to the weather because it can get pretty chilly at night. So then, let me see if this changes. Okay, now comes the funding. My company is run by women. We have 90% of my staff are women. I work with an amazing group of ladies that share my passion for craziness and great ideas. So here they are. I work with female guides, with female ladies that promote wines and beers. I have 2 biologists, crazy biologists that are my fairies, because we have opened the market for locals, and a lot of children come. And in order to pass this passion, we have fairies. So these beautiful girls dress up as fairies and do a tour at night and show the kids animals and lizards and frogs and insects. And they actually grab them and show them that some of them are harmless. So rather than being scared, they get a millipede or a tarantula in their hands. So it's pretty exciting. Then I also have a group of friends that always are there to help me. These are my models for the t-shirts. We have done this 3 times at the lodge. So a very dear friend of us, Oliver Wright, who is a photographer for Canon, he comes from England and does an amazing photo shoot with all the girls. Everybody gets beautiful makeup on and has photos taken of her in the forest to promote the t-shirts that in turn help us to maintain the forest. All of the revenue of this is for the forest. Then I have my 2 great managers, which is Nancy and Joa. They are the girls that run the lodge. They do an amazing job with the rest of the team, the cooks and the cleaners and the chambermaids. They are just great. And in Quito, I have another manager that helps me. She is called Veronica. She entered the team last year, and it's been a pleasure to have her. She helps me in everything with ideas, and nothing is an issue for us. We just get it done. And as I said, a few good men. We work with 3 or 4 guys that help us, like photographers that come and help. We have Vladi, who is our main do-it-all guy. He does everything, fixes everything. And we have Miguel, which is our driver. Miguel has been with us for over 15 years. He does everything, absolutely everything. So this is our team. We have also a group of chef friends that come and help us when we need to promote something. We have our yoga girls. They come and give yoga lessons in the middle of the cloud forest. We have a platform that's about 15-minute walk from the main lodge in the forest, and they give these yoga lessons for groups and people that might be interested. So as you can see, we have a whole group of people that help us. We also have guides from England. Neil is always there to help us. He's been an inspiration because he comes and gives us a hand with how we should do things, and he's very clear on the things that we shouldn't do. And then we have Kate. Kate is a brand new friend who I adore. She has put these cameras online, which I'll give you the address later on. It's on 24/7. It's by a company called Birdsey. And she put this feeder up, which has been amazing. We get tyras, we get olingos, we get lots of tons of birds. We have owls and falcons. And it has a special thing that it triggers. And when it senses there's a presence there or some movements, and it goes on and it films these things. It's very, very exciting. Okay, so after this, at the beginning and before we started the presentation, I was telling Mike and Victor about how we opened. We reopened again in July last year, and we implemented a biosecurity protocol that was very important to give security to my guests and my staff. So as you can see, this is all the signaling that we put there. There were places that children were not allowed because older people had to be in peace without worrying to get the virus. We are also very keen on recycling and saving energy and not using too much water. It has been part of the lodge since day one. We put signs everywhere, and our guests like to recycle because they can see it. As soon as they arrive, they see the recycling bin, so they don't even ask us where to put things. They actually go and put them there, which makes it nice, because we, apart from giving you a service, we are giving you a message, which in turn will go home and so on. Yeah, so there you go. So now, Mindo, Mindo was 40, 50 years ago, composed of 10 big farms. My family arrived from France and Germany in 1894, which is a long time ago, and we've been there ever since. Mindo had farms, huge territories. I don't know why they had that, but they did. And there was nothing really exploited there. They had their farmhouse. There was some farming going on. There was not a very big road. And then slowly the family started growing. So the farm started to get smaller because the kids inherited the land and so on until we get to us. And as I said at the beginning of my presentation, with the road came development. So there's a lot of like sort of condominiums and people want to buy their country home and things like that. But in the good side, tourism saved Mindo because it was used a lot for hunting and poaching 20 years ago. And people discovered that there was more money in tourism than it is in hunting. So they allowed the forest to regrow. There's not a lot of cows and agriculture anymore because of the weather doesn't really allow things to grow nicely, because although it's green and lush, it's cold. So we do not have any big plantation of palm hearts or things like that because the weather's not good enough, thank God. So instead, Mindo became a touristic town. So you have everything from bird watching to herpetologists that come and want to see the snakes and the lizards and the frogs. We got really good small restaurants or gourmet restaurants, which I have one, it's called El Patio. We have chocolate. Although Mindo doesn't produce chocolate for the same reason. It's too high, and the cacao plants need up to 800 meters over the sea level, and we are at 1200 to 1800, so it's not good enough. We buy the cacao, we dry it up, and we make chocolate. There's a lot of places where you can try the most amazing chocolate with the most beautiful blendings with local fruits and things. We also have coffee. I'll speak about the family's coffee plantation in a minute. Okay. There's coffee, and there's places that you can see how the coffee was done artisanally. There's also adventure sports a lot. Apart from the birding that you can go into towers and things, you get a lot of adventure stuff. There is canopy, there is, you can get on the chair and go up the mountain. You can come down the river in inner tubes, tire inner tubes. You can go to the rivers, you can go to the village that has been maintained and painted beautifully. And there's birds everywhere. You can be in the village that you'll see beautiful birds. You can be in the river, in the reserve. There's lots of birds, absolutely everywhere you go, which makes it one of the most amazing places to visit. Then now we go to the coffee and cacao. Part of my company does, it's a big group of things, and part of it is the coffee plantation. And it is located about an hour from Mindo. It's still at 1,600 meters, but it is in the place where the local indigenous people, the Yumbos, used to have plantation, because for some odd reason in that area, the clouds open up and they allow the sun to come in, making it a perfect place for agriculture. So they have this beautiful coffee plantation, as you can see. They produce really high-end gourmet coffee because they pressure the bean, and the weather suffocates the bean in such a way, like grapes, that when they don't have water, that the quality of the coffee they produce is amazing. The other thing that gives the flavor to the coffee is the sun. It is all dried naturally with no aid of lamps or anything. When the sun is out, they take these special sort of drying areas outside to capture the sun. And that makes the flavor even stronger and more delicate for this specialized market that likes specialty coffee. Here, the state is called Las Tolas Estate. It is, the coffee is rated 10/10, which is one of the top coffee up there with Capiluac and Blue Mountain. The problem is that the production is not very big because of the weather issue. If you don't get enough sun, then you don't get enough flowers, hence you don't get enough beans to produce a lot of coffee. But either way, the quality of the coffee is really, really good. It sells at an astronomical price in Europe at 48 euros a pound or something like that. It is sent to specialty coffee areas in Europe and in the States. Coffee and chocolate are in fashion, which has made my business boom, because we are in the hospitality business. So to promote chocolate, to promote coffee, it's easier. People try it and then they buy not only the coffee and the chocolate that we produce, but the chocolate and the coffee from Ecuador as a country, which is really good for the whole country. It is sold in coffee shops. We can deliver by courier. It is called in souvenir shops, at the airport, in fairs, and of course, as I mentioned, it exports everywhere around the world. Now, the past 10 years has been a challenge for producers and us that we promoted and export chocolate, to educate people on coffee and chocolate. Instant coffee is still really big. It has the 80% of the market. But the barista competitions that take place all over the world, in Europe and in Asia as well, have made a big impression. They contact companies like ours to get the coffee, and they roast it in such a way that allows the flavors to come in, hence educating the people that go to these competitions, or the baristas that have their specialty coffee shops or chocolate shops, in order to get this better coffee. So they get into new coffees and chocolate. They are looking for small productions that are gourmet with very high quality. Arabica is the best coffee, and instant coffee is made from Robusta, which is made from those huge plantations, you know, that they just have 200-300 hectares. They get it, they produce instant coffee, which is not really what I drink and what you should drink. You should drink high-end quality coffee. So part of the education was not to roast the coffee really dark, because when you do that, the flavor goes, it's kind of burned. But to get it a lighter roast that allows the flavors to come out. And we have done that. We have started to blend this type of coffee with chocolate, with brownies. A lot of shops around the world sell different types of coffee with different type of roasting. So a palette has been created in the public so they know what they like. And it's just become fashion. So because it's in fashion, people are looking for this gourmet coffee and chocolate, because it is just the thing that they want to do now, and they're after the good flavors. Okay, so now just to get to my end, which is which I'll get to it. Okay, El Septimo was created 20 years ago. It opened in 2001. The idea of opening the lodge was always to give a great service and be unique. Recycling and upcycling has been one of my main ideas since day one. And I was very proud when we became the traveler's choice from TripAdvisor. Now, as you can see, you guys are all in tourism. TripAdvisor is the hardest place to get an award because anybody can go into their site and put a comment. So you have to be sure that the service that you give is really good. It's just so important. During the years, we've had 27 awards, starting from in England, we got some in France, most of them online, most of them from people. We got lots of green awards as well. We got Smart Voyager, Safe Travels, lots of them. The knowledge that we've acquired during the years listening to our clients has been part of what we are now. It is important to us to have the input of our visitors in every sense, the trails, the lodge, the business, every single thing as such to become what we are now. And this is what it's important. Now, 20 years, as I said, to be unique. Employing women is important to me. I am very strong in believing that us women can do it better. But I treat women as individuals. They are just, I have managed to get this amazing group of ladies that help me and are part of my company and my group. My company has six lines starting. Everything is in tourism and hospitality, and a little bit of the coffee and chocolate, as you saw. But it's all into one company that it's run by an amazing group of people. Recycling and upcycling, water and waste is done in every single one of them. Our image is green, and it's part of what we do. I am very proud to say that I have the first and the only first-class boutique eco lodge. When people think of eco lodge, they think of ecology, basic, mainly nice and inviting. But we went over the top. We made it into a boutique place that you go in and it's just beautiful. It's relaxing, it's inviting, and it's ecological. We recycle 95% of everything that goes to the lodge. Our plastic intake is really, really low. We don't have plastic bottles. We try not to use plastic bags. We use cartons, etc. It's just the idea of consuming more than what we need is just not done. It's not done at all. We are ranked as one of the top worldwide. I am very proud to say we are a destination. When people come to Bird in the Mindo Valley, they actually come to us. After lots of work, lots of fairs in Asia, in England, in the States, we have become a destination as such sorry. So when most of the groups come, they stay with us for 5 nights, 6 nights, and use us as a center to go to the rest of areas within the valley and the valleys near to us. And finally, I want to thank you all for listening and to enjoying the photographs I passed. And I have to say that my success is mainly because I do the things I love. That's what I do. I love this place. It's part of my family's inheritance, and now it's part of me. Thank you. Okay. How do I stop sharing? Stop share. There you go. Okay. So that was the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions? I'll be happy to ask. I'll be happy to answer. Sorry. I get all excited when I talk about my project because it's just I just love it.
Thank you, Ana Lu.
You're very welcome.
A while ago, I'll ask the first question. A while ago, you were talking about COVID-19 procedures when you're entering the resort. Can you tell us a little more about it?
Okay, we had a whole plan set up. So we closed the entrance of any car to the main door at the lodge, and all cars and buses have to stay at the parking area. So as you arrive, we will take your temperature and disinfect your luggage. And as you go by, we have a special tunnel that has the sensors. So when you pass through, it will bathe you in a mild disinfectant. So that will disinfect your clothing and a little bit your hands and your shoes. So then you go to the washing area where you wash your hands, which is important because you're going to start touching things at the lodge. And as you enter the lodge, we have these little sort of foot places where we put cloruro de sodio, which I don't know how to say in English, I'm sorry, which is a disinfectant. And then you can walk into the lodge. Once you get into the lodge, there are areas where you have disinfectant gel. And during check-in, we put a glass to separate the reception area from the guests. When you do your check-in, you have your own pen and you are given this pack where you have a personal gel and a mask that you can use during your stay. Then around the whole lodge, there are disinfecting areas, there are washing places, and there are gel dispensers. The use of a mask is compulsory in Ecuador in common areas. We have 30 or 50% of people in one common area at one time. Since the lodge is so big, as I told you, we just spread things more. We spread the tables, we spread the furniture, we made more little sitting areas so people can be in their area without maintaining social distancing and without having the fear of getting infected by another person.
Oh, okay. Where's the question?
Questions.
There's a question about mosquitoes. How do you
okay.
prevent mosquitoes? Are there mosquitoes there? We
are at 1,600 meters from sea level. It is cold. It's not cold, but it sort of maintains a temperature from 15 to 24. Sometimes it will get a little bit hotter. We do have mosquitoes in the forest, but they don't tend to come into the lodge for some reason, we're not sure. We don't have mesh in the windows. At night, we ask guests to close their windows because the humidity comes in and it can get, it gets the furniture wet, the curtains wet, because it's 95% humidity. And you don't really need to open the windows at night because it's cool. We get the air from the mountains. We are in the Andes, mid-Andes, but the high mountains will send us the cold wind and it can get pretty chilly. Mosquito wise, you just use a small repellent, a light repellent, and you be good. They love me, so for some reason they follow me. So my local perfume is DEET. I use a lot of DEET just not to get bitten. There are seasons where we get chiggers. Chiggers are a pain. So we ask our guests to bathe after the walks at night. That keeps them controlled. But then again, some people just are, they'll get bitten by the one mosquito there is around. But a local DEET works better than foreign DEET because it's made for us, for our type of mosquito. And so that's how we control it. It's not very bad at all.
Good.
Any questions? Come on, ask me things.
Everyone is still in awe.
Yeah, they're all with their speakers off.
Everyone wants to go.
The place is so beautiful.
Yeah, we were supposed to go there last year, but there was a pandemic.
Jobs?
Yeah, we were expecting a lot of people last year. We were booked for 14 months, 80%.
Yeah, I remember Victor
And
also
then-
was egging us on to join him in the Galapagos tour, right, Victor? So it was going to be that South America loop.
Yeah, and if you come to Ecuador, you have to come to me, but definitely.
I was ready to book your place, Ana Lu.
Oh, you better. I know you, so you have to. Well,
It's already on the plane.
Mindo outside is just an amazing place. There's everything. You can do everything you want. And birding is just grand. We have an average of 60 species a day in any tour. And that's just keeping it low. You get 60 new species every day. Our birders work from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. because they will take you owling and to see the nightjars and the and all these night animals, lizards, and sometimes if you're very lucky, a snake here and there. And they love what they do, and they can guarantee 60 species a day. Usually we get about 90.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a great bird list, this is the place to come because you will get the birds. No matter how slow the day is, 60 is the minimum we get.
Yeah, I think what's nice about El Septimo is that birding is just in the backyard. It's very different here in the Philippines. I'm sure Victor and Andrew would attest to that, as well as Mark. We have to travel very far from our lodges to be able to bird. But one thing that drawn me to El Septimo and we were ready to book is that birding was just in the backyard. And I read all the things that you said, that at least 60 to 90 species. So we were pretty excited. I was pretty excited.
Well, keep it up and come visit. Yeah, I will. After this presentation, I will put the link for the camera that Kate put up.
Yes, please.
It's a feeder that is located conveniently beside the chocolate shop. So you can sit at the shop, eat your chocolate, have your coffee, and look at the birds. But when you leave, when you leave, you can link up to this camera. I will put the link up. And you can see we've had an owl that ate a moth. We had a falcon that went to eat the little bugs. We have tyras that go there. Usually they have destroyed the feeders. We have olingo and olinguito, which are this very rare species that lives in the cloud forests. And we actually got him in camera. We get lots of hummingbirds and birds that come daily. We get opossums. And for the first time, I saw a mouse opossum. I have never seen one, and it's in camera. So I will make sure to put the link up for you guys to see it because it is amazing. And this camera is up 24/7, and you can see the old videos as well, which will give you a sense of where you are and what you can expect when you come visit.
We'll be there next year.
Yes,
Definitely.
next year.
Yes.
We should go
Everything
together,
has
Victor.
been postponed for a year. So the South American Bird Fair, I don't know if it's going to take place this year or next. And after that one, the South American Bird Fair is coming to Mindo. So then you definitely have to come. I'm not really sure when it's going to be.
Yeah.
But it will be in the following years after this pandemic has passed.
Yeah.
It's already on our plan. Yeah, actually, we are ready, but because we stopped by the pandemic, but we are ready.
Oh, that's good.
Mindo is already checking 4 things I love: birds, coffee, and chocolate. You do have alcohol, right?
We have a wine
better than San
cellar.
Miguel.
We have all sorts of beers, and
Oh, really?
I make it in illegal moonshine that I buy from a couple of towns down. And I make this recipe called the 18 that was done by my grandfather. It's called the 18 because it has 18 different things in this moonshine, and you leave it to settle for about 4 to 6 months. And when you try it, it literally tastes like brandy with a hint of moonshine. 2 shots of that, and you will sleep like a baby.
And we won't mind the mosquitoes, right? 2 shots.
Yeah, Mike and Victor will love it. They drink a lot.
Yeah.
By the way, our friend from Mongolia has a question. He said that,
Tell me.
do you work with bird conservation individuals and institutes?
Do I work with what? I didn't
Do
hear
you work
you.
with the bird conservation individuals and organizations?
Yes. There are some organizations here in Ecuador. We work a lot with BirdLife and especially with the Audubon Society. They organize the Christmas bird count, and we usually top 3 of the world. Mindo, as I said, is a destination. And BirdLife also does a lot of research there. We are next month, April is the Global Big Count. That is the Global Big Day, sorry.
Global Big Day, yes.
Yeah. And there are, one of the main associations in Mindo is the Guides Association, which my son, unbelievably, he did a project and he sold these tickets and he managed to get 7 binoculars that he donated as part of his project to the Guide Association. That in turn, they are organized with Sandra, who is one of the main guides there and one of my dearest friends. They organize outing out with kids to show them about nature, to show them how to bird. So these kids from 5 to 15 go out for days and days. They learn, they have these binoculars that my son donated. They are starting to use telescopes. So by the time they hit 18, and if they want to be a guide, they can go to university, study whatever they want, and part-time be a birding guide or be a nature guide. And then we'll have, you know, in the future, we will have the next generation of guides. So yes, I do work with lots of them. Also, Conservation International, Traffic International do their seminars with us. We have close ties with them because from now and then you get poachers and people that collect things that they shouldn't collect. So we are very keen on checking everything. As soon as somebody gets a hint of something, we all get together to stop it. We are anti-mining 100%. We don't like miners, sorry, you know, but we don't. So we are very joined with these international organizations to try to put a stop to that before it even starts.
Hey, thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes, any more questions? Ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Key? Dr. Key, do you have any questions?
The place was just amazing. I would love to go just for the place, not for the birds. Well, but with 60 species at least per day, it's gonna keep me busy. I'll have to stay there for months in order to,
you are welcome.
See all those and classify all those photos that I take, and it's gonna take months. Oh, it's amazing. So you have to tell me, Victor, you have to tell me when you go to Ecuador next time. You said it was July last year, right?
Yeah, it was July last year.
July last year, but it did not
We
happen. So
understand next year. We're not
Mhm.
sure.
yeah, you have to tell me.
It all depends on the vaccine.
Right,
If we
yeah.
all have vaccine, then maybe we will have a vaccine passport. Then
Uh,
we in trouble.
I'm getting my vaccination next week, so I'll be ready.
All right.
right.
Now you're
Yeah.
ready. I know you're
Okay,
ready.
hope to see you soon, Ana Lu.
Yes, we have special areas that we've created for photographers.
Mhm.
We have had in the past years lots of photographers that not really care of seeing a lot of birds, but they want the perfect photograph. So we have set up a couple of blinds and special feeders with nice backgrounds. So we cut the big leaves away for you to center into the bird. Because photographers come and stay for, as you say, weeks to get the perfect shot. So when they come to the hummingbird feeders, we take the feeders away, we help them put a flower, and the hummingbird puts a flower. And one of the main experience that we give people is we take a feeder out, we put it in your hand, and the hummingbird will literally sit on your little finger and drink from the small bird feeder. It is just, when you make contact with nature, well, you can see the expression in their eyes. They just get, they go all wet, and it's like, oh my God. It is part of the experience, to make contact with nature. And we found this out. The little birds don't mind. And if you're wearing a red jacket or a bright jacket, they'll literally come to you and say, "Ooh, this big flower," and they'll come really close like a bumblebee. It's really fun to see.
Yeah. Well, please let me know if you have an opening for a job in your lodge.
Anytime.
All right. Looking forward to see you.
Yeah.
It'll be
Thank you,
lovely
Dr.
to
T. Yeah, Mark Ng from Malaysia wants to know when is the best time, when the best season to visit.
Okay, because we are in the equator, which is one of the main things in Ecuador, we have light from 6 to 6, sometimes from 5:45 to 6:15, but it's mainly the same the whole year through. We don't really have seasons. We have a wetter season and a sunnier season. And because of this global warming, it has changed all the time. So we have birding groups coming the whole year through. It does get wetter from February till April. But then birds don't really mind, because in the wet season that rains all day, it stops raining and you get these flocks of birds with 30 species in one tree, because they all come out to eat at the same time. So if you want to do photography, it is better from sort of late July till sort of November, if you want to do the lighter photography with lots of light, I mean. But then you must remember that in the cloud forest, we have clouds. Sun is a rare thing. Sometimes we do get a brighter day, but if you're patient enough, you will get the photo that you want. I know that people come with special lenses that capture the few luminosity that you have. Bring those, because you will need them. We don't have a problem in flashes. We've after lots of years, we have seen that it doesn't really impact the birds at all. So we have people that mainly want to photograph hummingbirds that they set up, and we help them set up things. They're just not allowed to touch the feeders, because you might have some germs in your hands. So only the guys of the lodge that deal with these can try the feeders. But we do help them set up their stuff, and bring them coffee and chocolate as they're doing, because they'll be there literally from 8 a.m. to 6. And if there was light after 6, they will probably stay after 6. So they get 4,000 shots, and they spend most of the night deleting these amazing photos, because they're not good enough for them. They'll just delete, and after the 4,000 pictures that they've taken, they probably keep 20. God. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Photographers go wild. And at night, we have a special tour called a safari night, which we send you with a guide. And in one of my images, you will see the Pinocchio lizard. Now, the Pinocchio lizard was a boom. It was all over National Geographic like 10 years ago because it was thought to be extinct. And suddenly we found it in the garden. So we took a photo, put it up, and people went wild. Oh my God, oh my God. We didn't know what it was. I've seen some of them. And then we have Reuters coming to the lodge, National Geographic came to the lodge, articles were up and down, and we are the custodians of these little animals. We don't let people that we think that are not trustworthy in, you know what I mean. There's a lot of biologists out there that are not very ethical and they think that they can reproduce them in captivity, which I don't agree. So anybody that comes and wants to see these little fellows that live on the top of the canopy, they have to go with our guides. They will capture one of these, you will have a photo session, and then they will put it back exactly the place where they picked it up. They're harmless and they're beautiful. There's not a lot of studies done on them. The males are about a quarter, and they have this long nose. That's why it's called a Pinocchio lizard. They're not aggressive at all. They're peaceful little things. But we don't know much about them. There's never been a study. So right now I'm speaking with these kids from Tropical Herping. They are both biologists and do tours as well, but they're mainly into research. So we're trying to get a biology to do a study. We actually got a biology to do the study in October. And of course, with all these issues going on, he came, stayed 2 days, and disappeared because for him it was too much of an issue, the politics in Ecuador and the pandemic, and so we lost him. So we are hoping to get a volunteer that will want to do some studies, not only on the lizard, but on certain birds that nobody has really done research.
Okay, thank you, Ana Lu. And we have one question from Facebook. I'm going to read it to you. Given the high humidity, it seems that it rains every other day. Any best month or time to visit that is rain-free?
Okay, I wish, but I truly think that the sun is overrated. I'm so white, I don't really like the sun, so Mindo agrees with me. However, July and August rains less. We cannot guarantee a sunny day. Sometimes in November we get a sunny week. It gets rainier at the beginning of the year towards April, May, but we're not really sure. We are in the cloud forest and our weather changes according to the streams in the sea and the cold of the mountain. So guarantee a sunny day, you have to be lucky and probably stay more days.
Okay, so next question from Nikhil from India. He wants to know how many days are needed for a tour.
Okay, most of the birding tours do the whole, you either do the whole of the North, Ecuador, and then go to the Galapagos or to the Amazon. The tours that come to us stay an average of 5 nights. That will allow you to do not only the gardens in Septimo, but all of the other destinations that are nearby our place. So you do like day trips. So you go to Pacto and that area, to Amapusa, you go to the lowlands, to the Hokotoco reserve that have these platforms. So our country is small, but with a lot of microenvironments. So you get from 800 meters and you go all the way up to 4,000 meters within 2 weeks. From one lodge to another special lodge that does birding, it's a day trip, but it's a day trip because you stop in certain reserves that we can guarantee the birds that you're gonna see. So in Mindo, about 5 nights. And then if you come all the way to us, I'll be more than happy to help you organize a tour as such, either if you want to do photograph or just see birds or mix with culture, because you have to get the sense of the whole thing, because it's such a long trip that for us it's important to share with you everything we can in 15 days. And if you stay for 21 days, it will be even better.
Wow.
We certainly need a long vacation for this.
Oh yeah, yeah, you have to. It took me to get to Malaysia 48 hours.
Ooh.
Because
Exactly.
of all the stops at the airport, and in order to make one flight to the other, it literally took me 48 hours.
Yes.
I collapsed when I got to Kuala Lumpur. It is far. But when you come to me, it'll take you 2 days to get to us. So you might as well stay and save your holidays for 2 or 3 weeks. So then you can do the Amazon, which is just, that is mind blowing because it has the same trees and similar forest to us with a hotter weather and the rivers that go by it. And then you go to the Galapagos, which is again, a bucket list thing that you have to do. You can do tours in a boat or go to the mainland for 4 days, for 4 nights, 7 nights. You know, there's lots of promotions now because of the pandemic. So if you want to pay a quarter of the price now, it's the time.
It means cheaper now. Is that what you mean?
Excuse me?
Is it cheaper now? Is that what you mean?
Yes, there are a lot of promotions because of the cancellations, because of the pandemic. To get a boat out, it is very, very difficult to get 16 people or 8 people in a boat. But if a group comes, they have special rates, and the local hotels also have special rates, and you get a panga, which is a smaller boat, every day, and you go out to the different islands, or you can do scuba diving with the sharks, which is amazing because they don't do anything, and you're literally 1 meter away from them. It's an experience. Trust me, your heart starts pounding like that, and you're with a 3 or 4 meter shark just there. It's an amazing, unique place with all the blue-footed boobies and all these weird animals that is the same species. However, you go to the other island and it's a subspecies. So you can see Darwin in action there. His theory, you can literally see it.
Okay.
Well, we will allow Dr. Key to visit you first because he will take the best next week.
You will be the first one.
Okay, one last comment.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Ana Lu was talking about flying from Ecuador to Malaysia. So we got this comment from Malaysia, from Tang Tak Hong in Malaysia. He said he likes the recycling and the reuse, but flying from Southeast Asia to South America will burn up a lot of plain fuel. So you know who? Someone answered him. Your son Rafael.
Oh yeah.
Is he still there with you? Is he still there with you? Oh, he's in Holland. Okay. He said that's why KLM. He said that's why KLM is developing biofuel.
You got lost there. That's why what?
KLM.
Yes.
The airline company is developing a biofuel.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, there you go. He is studying to be an automotive engineer into engines and things.
Oh, so okay. He answered on Facebook.
Listen, yes, you know, tourism is an industry that does leave a big footprint. However, being a custodian of such a big reserve I have, as I started my presentation, we do have to sacrifice the 10% in order to maintain the rest. There are a lot of people around the world that don't really care, but we care. So if you burn this, when you come visit our places all around the world, it is our obligation to try to maintain our footprint the smallest possible. Yeah. So in my case, cars cannot go into the reserve. You get to the parking lot, you switch off the car and you walk it off. It takes you 2 days to walk it completely, if you want to. If not, you just stay beside the pools and the birds will be there anyway. But it is important to know that although we need to travel in order to make our industry work, because if you don't travel, tourism will die. It is important that when you get there, you choose a place that is conscious of being green. Green in every single sense, recycling from the bottle to the curtain. everything counts. And if you are part of the solution rather than the problem, it does make a difference. But you must also consider that our industry is huge and we generate a lot of employment around the world. And
exactly,
employment moves a society, it moves a country, and it makes us develop. So yes, we have to sacrifice that 10%. But when you travel, choose a place that is 100% green, and that in any category it is, it makes a difference.
And we plant more trees for compensation.
Yes.
What? Yeah.
Well said, Ana Lu.
We will do that, yes.
Yes. About trees, when I got the lodge, you saw the flatlands, yeah? It was pastures. It took me 9 years to reforest that with endemic plants by hand, because pastures were there for 20 years and it was so hard to get rid of them. So slowly we reforested with local plants. So the forest we have is an endemic forest, rather than just getting trees from somewhere else and planting them, that I'm sure that they'll thrive, but they're not from there. And a lot of people are doing this because they have discovered the tourism. It's a great business. If you do it right, it's a great business. It's not only down to service, it's down to conservation and generating work.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no more question, it's time for take a group photo, right?
Yeah.
So please turn your camera now. Okay, we see Arakaki-san here. Emily. And Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Are you still with us, Andrew? Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Kusum.
And Kusum, yes, we see Kusum. Okay, Andrew.
Where's
and Emily. Hey, hello, Emily. All right, never mind. Okay, just look at the camera and smile. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Okay, before we go, Mike, where are we going next week?
Next week, okay. Next week, our speaker is also a good friend of Ana Lu, inspiring speaker Mohit Agarwal of India. He will be speaking about what they do in India, creating elephant corridors, helping in garbage solution, creating restaurants for tour guides. So eco-consciousness through ecotourism in India. I'm sure it'll be another inspiring talk. And thank you very much, Ana Lu, for sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Very exciting trip.
Thank you.
And we just can't wait to go.
Well, we will be here.
Thank you, Ana Lu, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you very
Have a good
soon.
weekend, everybody. Yes. Bye. Then see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.